What if the hardest season of your life is not a punishment? What if it's preparation? Right now, you may feel exhausted, tired of waiting, tired of fighting battles nobody sees, tired of praying for answers that seem delayed. You smile in public, but deep down, you're carrying questions, fears, and disappointments that keep you awake at night. You wonder if things will ever change. You wonder if God still sees you. But what if this struggle has a purpose? What if God is using this very season to build a stronger, wiser, and more faithful version of you? The pain you're feeling may not be the end of the story. The pressure may be producing something greater than you can imagine. Today, you're about to discover why God often does his greatest work in our hardest moments, and how every challenge can become a stepping stone toward the purpose he has prepared for your life. Hard times are God's training ground. Hard times are God's training ground, even though they rarely feel that way when you're living through them. In the middle of disappointment, uncertainty, and struggle, it's easy to believe that life is simply falling apart. Yet many of the qualities we admire most, resilience, wisdom, patience, courage, and unwavering faith, are not developed in seasons of comfort. They are forged in moments that test us. When everything is going well, we often rely on our own understanding. But difficult seasons have a way of pushing us closer to God. They strip away distractions and reveal what truly matters. They teach us to pray with sincerity, to trust beyond what we can see, and to keep moving forward even when answers are delayed. Training is never comfortable. An athlete grows stronger by pushing past resistance. In the same way, spiritual growth often comes through challenges that stretch our character. The obstacle in front of you may be developing a strength you will need for a future assignment. The delay may be teaching patience. The setback may be building perseverance. God sees beyond the current moment. While you focus on the pressure, he focuses on the person you are becoming. Every challenge carries an opportunity to grow, to mature, and to discover a level of strength that comfort could never reveal. Faith grows strongest in adversity. Faith grows strongest in adversity because adversity forces us to decide what we truly believe. It is one thing to trust God when life is predictable and everything seems to be working in your favor. It is another thing entirely to trust him when doors close, plans fail, and the future feels uncertain. Difficult seasons expose the foundations of our lives. They reveal whether our confidence is built on circumstances or on God's unchanging character. When answers are delayed and the path ahead is unclear, faith becomes more than a comforting idea. It becomes a daily choice. Adversity teaches us to keep showing up. It teaches us to pray when we don't feel strong, to continue believing when results are not visible, and to hold on to hope when fear tries to take control. These moments deepen our relationship with God because they require dependence rather than self-sufficiency. Some of the greatest transformations happen in seasons that nobody would choose. The pressure creates depth. The waiting creates endurance. The struggle creates spiritual maturity. What once seemed impossible becomes manageable because God gradually strengthens the heart. The storms of life do not have the final word. They often become the place where courage is born, where trust is refined, and where faith develops roots deep enough to withstand whatever comes next. Trust God's timing even when waiting hurts. Trust God's timing even when waiting hurts, because some of life's most difficult battles happen in seasons where nothing seems to be moving. You pray, you hope, you work, and yet the breakthrough you long for remains out of sight. The silence can feel confusing. The delay can feel personal. Questions begin to fill your mind, and doubt tries to convince you that God has forgotten your situation. Yet waiting is often where faith learns to breathe. It is where trust moves beyond words and becomes a way of living. God sees the entire picture while we only see the current moment. What appears to be a delay may actually be protection. What feels like inactivity may be preparation happening behind the scenes. Many people want immediate results, but lasting growth rarely happens overnight. Character is developed gradually. Wisdom is gained through experience. Spiritual maturity grows through patience. During the waiting season, God often works on the heart before he changes the circumstances. Waiting does not mean standing still. It means continuing to pray, continuing to learn, continuing to grow, and continuing to trust. It means refusing to allow frustration to steal your peace. Every day becomes an opportunity to deepen your dependence on God rather than your dependence on outcomes. The waiting season often shapes a person long before it changes a situation. Do hard things with God beside you. Do hard things with God beside you because growth rarely happens inside the boundaries of comfort. Every meaningful step forward requires courage. Whether it is healing from heartbreak, starting over after failure, confronting fear, or pursuing a purpose that feels bigger than your abilities, there comes a moment when faith asks you to move despite uncertainty. Many people spend years waiting to feel ready before taking action. They wait for confidence, perfect conditions, or complete certainty. Yet confidence is often built through obedience, not before it. Strength develops while carrying the weight, not while avoiding it. God never promised a life without challenges, but he promised his presence through them. Knowing that changes everything. You do not have to face difficulties alone. You do not have to carry every burden through your own strength. God's guidance brings wisdom when decisions are difficult and peace when emotions become overwhelming. Doing hard things is not about proving how strong you are. It is about trusting that God's strength can sustain you when your own strength feels limited. Each act of courage expands your capacity. Each step of faith stretches your perspective. Each challenge overcome becomes evidence that you are capable of more than fear once convinced you. The path forward may be demanding, but purpose is often discovered on roads that require faith, discipline, and persistence. Your struggle is shaping your purpose. Your struggle is shaping your purpose in ways you cannot yet see. Every setback, delay, and challenge is developing strength, wisdom, and character. God often uses difficult seasons to prepare you for the calling ahead. Fear fades when faith leads. Fear fades when faith leads. When you place your trust in God above your circumstances, anxiety loses its grip. Faith gives you the courage to move forward, even when the path is unclear and the future feels uncertain. Rejection does not cancel God's plan. Rejection does not cancel God's plan. Closed doors, disappointments, and overlooked opportunities cannot stop what God has ordained. What others reject, God can still use, refine, and position for a greater purpose. Discipline today creates strength tomorrow. Discipline today creates strength tomorrow. Every faithful choice, every act of obedience, and every step of consistency builds character. God often prepares people for greater responsibility through daily commitment and perseverance. God's power shines through your weakness. God's power shines through your weakness. The places where you feel inadequate often become the places where his strength is revealed most clearly. When you depend on him, limitations become opportunities for divine grace. Keep going. God is not finished with you. Keep going. God is not finished with you. Your current struggle is not the end of your story. God is still working behind the scenes, shaping, strengthening, and preparing you for what lies ahead. Every hard season carries a hidden invitation, an invitation to trust more deeply, to grow more intentionally, to walk by faith instead of fear. The struggles you face today are not random obstacles scattered across your path. They are opportunities to become the person God is calling you to be. The waiting is teaching patience. The challenges are building resilience. The disappointments are strengthening your faith. Even the moments that feel confusing can become part of a greater purpose when placed in God's hands. The question is not whether God is working. The question is whether you will trust Him while He works. Will you allow fear to keep you stuck, or will you move forward in faith? Will you allow rejection to define you, or let God refine you? Will you quit because the journey is difficult, or continue because God's promise is greater than your discomfort? Your future is not determined by your current struggle. It is shaped by who you become through it. Keep trusting, keep growing, keep obeying, keep believing, because the same God who is carrying you through this season is preparing you for the next one.